side by side. Silva, first of all, is 6 years older. You can see there's a little bit of a difference in weight. Pasternak slightly heavier there, coming down from light heavy, remember. And quite a bit taller, 12 centimeters taller, in fact. This is Poland against Portugal.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is 3 rounds of 5 minutes in a catch weight division, 82.6 kilograms, and it's brought to you by Yahoo. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he is a mixed martial artist, standing at 190 centimeters tall, weighing in at 85.5 kilograms, holding a professional MMA record of 10 wins, no losses. Fighting out of Okninski MMA, he is Polish ADCC champion, Michal Pasternak! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a freestyle fighter, standing at 178 centimeters tall, weighing in at 84.9 kilograms, holding a professional MMA record of 39 wins, 14 losses. Fighting out of RS Team, representing Portugal, WUFC champion of the world, Rafael the Machine Silva! And when this battle begins, your referee in charge, Yuji Shimada.
Hey, fight us. What is coming? Shoot us. Okay. 5 minutes, 3 rounds. No head body, no head groins, no good offense. On the grounds, do not stomp the face, okay? Do not attack the back. Touch ears, okay? Okay? Okay, touch gloves. Corner.
So, 3 5-minute rounds.
Touch.
Pasternak against
Ready?
Silva.
Go!
This fight brought to you by Yahoo.
Rich, what's the first thing that stands out to you in this fight?
The fact that neither of these guys are standing southpaw right now.
The other thing was that one is short and stocky, the other one's long and lanky. It doesn't look like Pasternak's going to use his length to his advantage. He's kind of in that crouch position. He's lowering his level. I would have thought he would try and stand a little bit taller and stick a jab out there or use some kicks to keep the distance. He came right in, rushed in for the takedown. Nice little transition, trying to get on the mount. Missed it though. Nice. Sat up on the single leg, was able to scoot his butt out to the outside and come up on top. He's trying to collapse both legs together so he can bring that left leg over the top and pinch his feet together, get into the mount position.
Shimada was on all fours for a while there, checking the action out. Nice and close, good right hand there from Pasternak. Thudding it down on Silva's head, but then banged into the canvas. A double whammy, if you like.
Yes.
And the knee to the head. Got to watch to make sure it doesn't hit the back of that head. It came dangerously close.
Trying to use the global rules to his advantage. They both got to be careful here because not a whole lot of punches are being thrown right now. So the ref may look to potentially stand them up, give them a yellow card for stalling. We have those here at 1FC. Rich, why don't you talk us through that?
Yeah, Yuji has the ability to either award a yellow card or a red card. Yellow card can be awarded for something like stalling. Maybe they're in a ground position where nothing is happening. Typically, Yuji will warn them verbally several times before he actually awards a yellow card. But if the stalling, for example, were to continue, then it could actually result in a deduction of their purse.
Pasternak attacking the key lock, wasn't able to get it. Rafael turns, gives him his back. Let's see if Pasternak puts a hook in, starts a leg ride.
Speaking almost as much as you, Josh, is Pasternak's cornerman, who's just non-stop since the start of this fight. You may be able to pick it up on our mics.
Pasternak couldn't get a word in edgewise when I was doing the interview with him the other day. His corner was talking more than he was. So you could tell that Pasternak was confident in his abilities. He didn't really have much to say, but his corners had a lot to say, on boasting on how good he is.
We've got to get him into our commentary booth at some stage. That's going to fill some air, I'll tell you that much. Over halfway through this first round, 2:13 left.
Rafael needs to bring that left arm up underneath the chin, frame him away, frame his face away, dig that underhook. It looks like he's pretty uncomfortable on his back right now. He should be looking to put that underhook. And kind of scoot his hips out on the left, come up on that single leg. Doesn't look to be working for that at all. He's content with just being on his back. He needs to separate himself from the chest-to-chest position. Rafael does. And Pasternak just keeping that good top position. Notice how the left knee of Pasternak is tight to the hip there. Oh, he just opened it up a little bit right as I said that, of course.
He's a heavy weight, isn't he? Or a light heavy weight, literally on top. Really difficult to shift. That long body of his, 12 centimeters taller, rangy looking character.
This is where I think you see the difference, where I feel that Rafael is a 170 pounder, or it needs to be at the lighter weight. Pasternak's used to dealing with bigger guys, and it's showing right now how he's dominating the top position. Rafael needs to put his hands on those hips, try and make space. He's just holding from the bottom. You're never going to get away from there, and potentially could lead to a referee stoppage if you take too many strikes that are you're not defending yourself.
Silva is taking strikes. They're not particularly heavy. He's defending himself reasonably well. Those blows are glancing at best something, but it's the forearms and the elbows that tend to do more damage than the punches, even in that top-down position.
Nice elbows right there. Those are the elbows that are going to get the refs to stop.
30 seconds.
Big elbows.
The question is, does Yuji let this go to the end of the round? Technically, he should stop it just whenever he thinks it should be stopped, but there's 20 seconds left. Can Silva ride this one out? He's not throwing punches back, but he's covering up fairly well, particularly from the straight punch. Not so much from those punches coming in from the side. You can't protect yourself from all punches, of course. He'll see the round out, but my goodness, he's taken some abuse in that final minute or so.
The crowd goes crazy. He was just about to escape right before the bell. Rafael gets up with a smile on his face, though. But I wouldn't be smiling too much. Those are some pretty vicious elbows that landed.
I don't think I'd be smiling too after all that.
There.
Look at this abuse that came down. But take a look at how many of them actually landed heavily. I think Silva was actually defending himself pretty intelligently there. Good use of his forearms to block the straight punches.
You can look for Pasternak to probably come out and really do the same thing he did. Get the takedown and dominate top. I think he just realized that Rafael has something on the ground, and he's going to probably look to get the takedown right away. They had talked about the game plan was to kind of stand, but as soon as they got to the clinch, he was able to get him down. And now he knows.
That's the corner man in the right of your screen there that's been yelling furiously at Pasternak. And I mean this literally non-stop for the entire 5 minutes of that first round. He'll be as tired as the fighters are, and certainly he's putting more into commentary than we are.
Very intense corner man. I was interviewing Pasternak, and almost like every time I asked a question, his corner was yelling at me.
He spoke for him.
He was yelling at me for the answer. Rich, why don't you give us a run through on how you scored that first round?
Well, they came out, and Pasternak, he got the takedown, obviously controlled the ground the entire round. But at the end there, he started running away with the damage, and that's what is going to separate him big, because the damage graphic is a higher scoring on our scale.
Yeah, he landed some vicious elbows from that top position. I'm surprised to see Rafael get the work for the takedown here. If Pasternak is able to reverse him, we've kind of seen that Rafael has a hard time with Pasternak's weight on top of him. Oh, he's got that guillotine in.
Not letting go either. It went down, came up, then went down with it again.
Pasternak working that underhook. See how he's working this underhook here? He's trying to get that underhook on that right side, which kind of alleviates the pressure from the guillotine. It stops Rafael from really locking it in all the way. Here he goes. He's working his way up. Pasternak's working his way up on the single leg. He's got to be careful, though. He doesn't get too committed to it and give up his neck. Pasternak's on top.
Oh, slips out.
This is where you don't want to be with 3.5 minutes left. Rafael was having a hard time with him in the first round when he was fresh. Now that he looks like he's a little bit more tired, a little bit more fatigued, he's going to have a hard time to get him off of him now.
Just could not get rid of him, could he, in that first round, apart from perhaps the final second, where it looked as if he may have freed himself, but it was all over by then. He faces another 3.5 minutes, potentially, of having his back to the canvas and that weight of Michal Pasternak on top of him.
Pasternak's got to get busy, otherwise the ref's going to look to either warrant a yellow card or potentially stand them up.
Nie w rękę, mamy czas, spokojnie, tak.
He's trying to put that knee on the elbow or on the arm to lock him down so he can land some elbow strikes to the face.
Seems almost futile to say, because when you're taking punishment ground and pound wise, you're taking it. But I haven't seen many defend themselves quite as effectively as Silva is. Pasternak, there's the coach, there's Pasternak's coach. Just listen in.
Nisko biodra, nisko biodra, tak. Nisko biodra.
He just never stops, does he? And I wonder to what extent Pasternak can actually absorb anything that he's saying. Perhaps when he's on top and throwing the punches down, maybe, but not when his head was in the guillotine earlier on. I'm sure you can still hear him. He won't be stopping anytime soon.
There we go. Like, that's what I want to see out of Pasternak now. He's in the guard, full guard. Rafael's legs are locked, which means there's really no submission attempts coming right away. So Pasternak needs to posture up and start letting down some big punches. That's what I'd like to see out of him in this position here. He's obviously dominating the top position. So let's see him look to go for the finish. Would you agree, Rich?
Yeah, he's sitting in the guard here. You've heard Yuji call action twice now. I'm looking for them to be stood up in a second. But by the judging criteria that we have, Pasternak should be on top here looking to break the guard, pass the guard, and look to actually finish this fight. He's not going to do that with a body-body-head combination on the ground because it doesn't amount to a bunch of damage.
You'll find that a lot of experienced fighters, what they'll do is they'll go to the body-body-head, kind of keep the refs off of them, you know. And so you see he's starting to posture up here, looking to pass. It looks like he's about to get swept. Nice work from Rafael. He needs to circle off the fence. He needs to stop committing to that guillotine, because that's kind of what's getting him in trouble, right, Rich?
Yeah, but this one looks deep, and it like a good one. Actually looked like Pasternak was about to tap from the standing position. He ended up on top in this case, so at least he's not carrying Pasternak's weight this time.
So you wouldn't advise a fighter to approach a fight in this way, but a lot of the advantages that Silva does get comes from his effective defense on the ground.
Beautiful knee from Rafael to the face there in the transition, but he ended up on bottom. You know what, though? He's going for the submissions, and that's what we want to see here at 1FC. He needs to start putting his back against the fence, potentially start wall walking, cage walking, working his way back up. Pasternak's really aggressive on this top position. He's good at the transitions from left to right, not letting Rafael really get his hips moving from side to side.
Remember, Pasternak 10-0, undefeated. This is a step up in class against a vastly more experienced fighter, and he is certainly giving easily as much as he's getting. This is an impressive performance from the Polish fighter.
He's got to be careful, though, because he's not doing a whole lot of damage from the top. He's kind of just the body-head thing that Rich and I were talking about. So he's going to have to be a little bit more active in the third round before Yuji maybe potentially gives the yellow card.
Well, I say again, I think he's being frustrated by very effective defense from Silva against the ground and pound. I mean, it's not winning Silva any points, but it means that he's able to get up from these positions when he can escape without having undertaken too much damage. He's very, very intelligent in the way he uses his forearms there to block a great deal of those punches.
Rafael's going for the submissions, but when he goes, it's putting him in worse positions that's potentially costing him the fight.
Dwie rundy wygrałeś. On jest słaby jak bat. Tylko masz przetrwać to wszystko, rozumiesz? Tylko nic masz więcej zrobić.
Well, the Pole getting a few words of advice, a few of many come his way over the course of the past 10 minutes or so. The final 5 minutes is upon us. Quick word from Rich Franklin on how he sees this fight going into the final 5 minutes.
You have to remember that we score these rounds on a cumulative basis. That we don't score each round, but the whole fight cumulatively. So the differentiating factor here is the damage meter still. Damage is, of all the things that have been scored, it's the highest criteria, and I have Pasternak ahead on that. He's also ahead on ground control for overall time, but right now they're sitting basically even with takedowns. So the fight we're in now, Pasternak's ahead on the scorecard.
So Silva with a lot of work to do. It's not just about winning this round. He's got to come back from a 10 minutes that Pasternak has pretty much dominated.
Rafael Silva looks...
Whoa! Not quite sure what happened there. He threw a punch and then collapsed. I wonder if perhaps he hurt his ankle or turned it in some way. He collapsed under his own weight, it seemed. Very curious indeed.
I have no idea what happened there, but Rafael went for the submission again and gave up top position. I think ultimately at the end of the day, this is what's going to cost him the fight.
Big question unanswered for us there.
You can hear the ref already telling him to work to finish. He's already given him the warnings in the second round. Pasternak's doing good work on the ground. He's just got to be a little bit busier with the striking. Rafael, when they first came out, already looks a little tired. Arms are down, everything. So, nice knees from Pasternak. That's what we're looking for him to do right
Again,
there.
they're blocked intelligently by Silva. Every one of these knees has hit the upper arm of Silva. None of them have gone to the head. You're not going to win a fight that way, but it does mean you can take that punishment and move things on. And that's why Silva's still in this fight, albeit perhaps some way behind on points.
He's blocking the knees to the head. He's also blocking the punches as well. But it's definitely not a way to win the fight. He needs to get moving. He needs to look to scramble. I just think that the pressure that Pasternak put on him in the top position in the first 2 rounds has worn him out. And like we talked about in the very beginning of the fight, the size to me was a difference when I saw him yesterday weigh in on the scale. Pasternak just looked a lot bigger. He's used to dealing with a lot bigger guys. Rafael's kind of coming up in weight. And I think he's more of it. Looks like his body type looks more like a natural welterweight.
Well, that defense to the strikes, both knee and fist, come from those 53 fights that Silva's had. Now in his 54th, but he looks to be losing it. 2.5 minutes, just slightly more than that, to do something quite dramatic, we think, if he's going to win this one.
He's working on that key lock there, Pasternak is. It slipped out right there. You can tell Rafael is used to, at his gym, potentially finishing a lot of people with that front guillotine. It's like his go-to. When people have like a go-to in the gym that no one can stop, right? Everyone, he catches everybody with, they get into a fight and they realize that, they don't realize, I should say, they can't finish their opponent using that same move. It blows their mind. I think what it does, it mentally fatigues them, and he looks exhausted out there right now, not just from being grinded out in the first 2 rounds, but also trying to hit those submission attempts and never getting them.
Just very little that Silva could do with that huge weight upon him. A former light heavyweight, a man who's looking to come down to middleweight, but clearly he's going to have a big size advantage if he can comfortably make middleweight in his future contests here.
He looks enormous for a middleweight. If he's able to make that weight, I mean, he seems like a really big middleweight. I would honestly like to see him and Mizuno, both of them being extremely large middleweights, like basically height-wise, length-wise, everything. And they both of them have very similar styles.
Wouldn't that be a good match?
That would be a great fight.
Yeah, he's not through this one yet. We may be jumping the gun slightly. 1.25 minutes to go, but those were heavy elbows again, very effectively defended. That blow was a glancing blow. So few, I mean, a really low percentage of these strikes are getting through. Having said that, those last 3 certainly connected.
He's got the fight pretty much in the bag, I would say. I'd like to see him just posture up and throw some big strikes like he did a second ago. He threw 1 or 2, get right back to it. There you go. Weaving those big forearms and elbows right in between the arms. You can see Rafael's forehead lumped up.
Yuji had to step over them there because they crowded him out, and he stands them up.
He grabs his knee, though. Pasternak grabs his knee. Something's wrong.
He clearly hurt himself early in the round. I thought it was perhaps his foot. Could have been his knee. Look at the way he's hobbling around.
Yeah,
and he attacks it. Silva attacks it, but has he got time to do anything about it? Just 20 seconds left. It doesn't look that way. That's why this fight has been on the ground in the last round, because Pasternak can hardly stand.
Rafael just didn't have the energy to get after it.
Yeah, 15 minutes are pretty much done, and that is a tired Portuguese fighter you're seeing with his back on the canvas.
You got to give it to Pasternak, though. He hurt his knee somewhere, I think, in the beginning of the 3rd round.
He's just pointing out his left knee. He was talking to his coach. He's clearly hurt his left knee. Let's look at that incident again. He threw a punch, I think it was an overhand right, and then just collapsed under the weight of his knee. And you can see he's clearly in distress. There it is. Twisted it, fell on it. Oh, yeah, his foot was stuck in the canvas, and he probably has done some meniscus or even cruciate ligament damage there. Almost that entire final round, he fought on one leg. Just as well for him then that he was on the canvas prostrate while he was doing it.
Wow, yeah, because he got up after the ref had stood them up, and he was touching his knee like, I don't think I can get up. But he got up and still was able to get another takedown.
It's like a soccer player getting his cleats or his studs caught in the turf. His foot just couldn't move on the canvas as his knee and his body weight moved above him. And that's where he did the damage to the knee. But it was not a factor. He was able to control the action, make sure it stayed on the ground. But as you can see, he needs assistance to get from one side of the cage to the other.
That's impressive. I mean, after meeting with him this week, I could see the type of mentality he had, just that sense of confidence. I guess you'd almost call it arrogance a little bit about him, but it showed he was still able to fight on after hurting it early in the third.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. And all 3 judges see it for your winner via unanimous decision from the blue corner, Michal Pasternak!
Clear winner in the end. But I wonder how long he'll be out of action with whatever has happened to that knee. I'm sure he'll be going to see the medics, but at least he's got the satisfaction of a win behind him. We'll be back with plenty more action. Dynasty of Champions in Beijing.